Study hard, my brothers and my sisters, so you don't have to work for peanuts and or go down the illegal route. What's working for peanuts? Minimum wage, fam. Stacking shelves in Asda. Working at TGI Fridays. Sweeping dirt off the road. What's the illegal route? Trapping, doing fraud, doing all this nonsense and that. You study hard, you don't have to be working for peanuts, you don't have to go down the illegal route. I truly believe the man that's on road right now, doing up fraud, trapping, get me having to constantly look over their shoulder, and that anytime they hear the police signs or police pull up outside their yard, whatever, drive down their block, drive down their estate, and that they're getting shook. I truly believe the man them that are on the wrong path. If they just studied when they were young, when being broke was kind of acceptable, like when you're 16, 17 in that car. You don't want to be broke. Being broke when you're 16, 17, 18 is different to being broke when you're a 30-year-old man, 25-year-old man. I truly believe the man them that if they did study when they was a youth man, 16, 17, got an apprenticeship and that, and they got a decent paying job to the point where they're earning £300, £250 a day when they're 21, 25, and that is possible easily. I truly believe the man them that if they did study and they was earning 200, 250 a day at the age of 21, 25, I guarantee you they wouldn't be on the road trapping, blood. I guarantee you, it's too hot. I guarantee the man them that's doing up fraud, doing up shotting and that. If they could work a job, if they had a skill trade or education that's paying them £300 a day, they would not be trapping, blood. I'm not saying that they wouldn't do one little thing here and there, little activity, because you know certain man just want quick money and that. But I guarantee you they would not be in the thick of things. Why are they in a position where they feel like they need to trap and, you get me, do fraud and that? Because they didn't bother get themselves educated. And then when it came time, when it was a sort of time where they thought, you know what, yeah, man need to get educated and that so I can earn a decent amount of money, they feel like they're too old. Who wants to fucking be an apprentice at 25, 30 years old, blood? Just the word apprentice, in your head, you think of like a 16, 17, 18-year-old, someone that's just fresh out of secondary school. And even now in this country, I believe the 18-year-olds and that, you have to stay in school until you're 18 or something. No one wants to be doing an apprenticeship. I met a man that I know, man that's close to man. He was the 30-year-old apprentice. Now, big up to him. Certain man would never have done that. Certain man would have never become an apprentice at the age of 30 as an electrician and that. Certain man got too much pride. And sometimes, yeah, a man having too much pride can be a downfall and that. So I've made a video before saying that the more you study, the easier your job's going to be and the more you're going to get paid. So I started off by saying that if you become a bricklayer, yeah, you can get like a decent wage, £200 a day, whatever, innit? But the work is back-breaking work. Literally, you're going to spend your day bending over, and that bending over is not good for your back. And when man are working and that, man are not thinking about the correct way to bend over, and you understand what I'm trying to say? So yeah, you get quick money in that, you don't need to study, it's just hands-on experience, and that you don't need to put in no work in the classroom and that. But you're going to have a detrimental effect to your spinal cord. You get me? You're physically gonna hurt and harm yourself over a prolonged period of time. As opposed to if you study in the classroom, become an electrician, become an electrical tester and that, the work is easier. Obviously you have to make the sacrifice of that, the work is easier that, and you get paid more. That's better for your body, blood. Similarly, we go a step further. If you become a doctor, if you bust your ass in the classroom and that, yeah, it's going to take some sacrifice. 8 years in the classroom, but you get paid like 80 grand a year. Obviously, it's different. If you become like a locum doctor, I'm sure that's like the equivalent of being a self-employed doctor or whatever, innit? You're going to get paid a lot of money. Yeah, you're going to put in the effort. This damn dog's getting on my damn nerves, man. You're gonna put in a lot of effort in the classroom and that, but then the pay is going to be much better and the work is so easy. Trust me, these GPs, blood. I've been to the doctor's surgery and that. Told her, man, I don't know what's happening to me or whatever, innit, yeah. I think at one time I had like a floating rib, yeah. And that's basically when I think you don't have enough cartilage or something anyway. Anyway, I remember I was saying to the doctor, this was like all 7 years ago or something. I was saying to the doctor, I heard that GPs and that, they just type up your symptoms on the internet and they tell you what's wrong with you or whatever, innit? And he said, yeah, my man flipped the monitor and that. Imagine having an easy job like that. You're just writing prescriptions and that. Obviously, the studying and that was nuts. Yeah, your brain has to be calibrated a different way to become a doctor and that. But literally, what you put in, you get out. So you want to be a lazy man, you can't be bothered to study. Yeah, you can't bother to make no sacrifice in that. You can be working for peanuts, and or you're gonna be doing up illegal fraud activity, or you're shotting and you're trapping and that. This damn dog, blood. Fucking dogs get on my damn nerves if they're barking, man. But literally, I remember, just before I got in the car, I was sitting down, because I'm in Edmonton right now. I was sitting in the car thinking about some of the jobs that I've worked. Like, I remember working for one Jamaican man, and literally man was doing labouring work, back breaking work, and literally I was just getting paid £50 a day. Obviously man was a youth man, innit, like 16, 17 and that. And it just goes to show, man, like, at first you're gonna have to work for free, basically virtually nothing, innit? But one day, fam, that hard work will pay off, blood. One day you're gonna be earning so much money and that you're gonna laugh, you're gonna think to yourself, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna like, blood, imagine paying that. Imagine me back in the day, I had to work for £50 a day. Now, I'd work an entire day, an 8-hour shift for £50. And now, every job I do, I get paid £65. It takes you an hour and a half to complete the job. And I do like five, six of them in a day. You get the luxury of being able to laugh at when you was struggling and you was grinding and that. Imagine when man become rich and that, and I'm just driving this shit Honda Civic with the trim all mash up and that. Imagine one man's rich and driving a prestigious car and I get to laugh at, blood, remember that time? Or I get to say to people, I remember, or I get to think to myself, I remember when I used to drive around in that car with the electrical tape taped around, the handbrake, the clutch is squeaky, man's got the trim mash up and that, the steering wheel is all torn up and that. Yeah, even now, like, I get to look back on times when I was broke, when I was a youth, man. I remember, like, listen, I come from a good home, but family didn't have no money like that, blood. And I remember when I was in my, I think going from year 5 to year 6 or year 6 to year 7, I remember rolling around on the roads with just 50p in my pocket. That's it. Just 50p in my pocket. And I'm thinking, boy, back then the ice poles then was 10p. I don't even want to know how much ice poles are nowadays, innit? And I just remember not having no money in that. And now, when you put in the work, you make sacrifice, you're a hard grinder, you're a hard studier and that, you get to look back on the times when you was broke, blood. Yeah, man, it's refreshing to feel like, or to know, say, you know what, man's put in the hard work and that, like, it was worth it, the struggle was worth it and that. And even now, man's still putting in hard grind, man's still making sacrifice and that. And literally my girl was saying, she said to me, I think about 2-3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, she was like, nah, you really are. She said, I was thinking about you the other day, Jay. Obviously she lives with man, but she was thinking, nah, yeah, man, this guy's really gonna reap the fruits of his labor, innit? Because obviously man's invested in property early. So imagine, man's 30 years old, got 3 properties and that. Imagine, like, I'll have definitely gonna get a few more in it, but let's say I even start to do these 3 properties. Imagine when I'm 50 years old. Remember, in 20 years, imagine how much the properties are gonna go up by in 20 years. Imagine man just pulling out that cash and being able to do this, do that, buy a fucking car in cash. Imagine how much of the property is gonna go up by. My properties right now, they're both. So my house is worth 200 grand. My first flat is worth about 120, and the other flat's worth about 125, 130, and that. Imagine how much they're gonna be worth in 20 years. 400-500 grand easily. Imagine I also shot them and sold them. I could take 50 grand and buy a car in cash. I would never do that anyway, it's a waste of money. But imagine, this is what happens when you put in the sacrifice and hard grind from day early on, you get to reap the fruits of your labor, man. Don't delay, fam. All these man thinking like, yeah, man, you know, I'm just gonna wing it, blood. This is what happens in the black community. A lot of man. I'm not saying white man don't do this. This dog is getting on my Ras Clark nerves, fam. But a lot of man, you get me, they will be 16, 17 and that. They go college and that. And they'll start off with sports science. Then they'll do carpentry. Then they'll say, you know what, let me do a little IT course and that. Drop out all 3 of them and that, and then think, you know what, yeah, bro, let me just work this BT job or work for Auto Glass or some idiot thing and that. Next thing you know, and then they say to themselves, yeah, don't worry, man, life will work itself out and that. Because these things like Auto Glass and B&Q and BT and working for Sky, they're not careers, they're just jobs. They say to themselves, you know what, life, if something's gonna pop, life will just work itself out. Blood, life don't just work itself out, fam. As a man, no one's coming to save you, blood. As a man, no one's coming to give you 50 grand and say, yeah, here's 2 properties and that. But you got to earn everything yourself, blood. There's a difference between man and woman. Gal can just be hot, gal can be nice and find themselves in the side of a man's Ferrari, passenger seat and that. Blood, for you to be in a man's passenger seat in a Ferrari, you need to be on the same level as that guy to some degree. Unless you just knew a man as his friend from day, or that's one of your family members and that. You are not rolling around with rich guys if you're a broke guy. You can be a broke gal and roll around with rich guys. You cannot be a broke guy and roll around with rich guys. No way. With man them, it's exchange of value and that. What do you bring to the table, fam? You get me? I'm not going to be rolling around with no guys that ain't on the same level as man. This is why I don't roll with no one, really. I just do my own thing. Because man ain't found no one, really, that's on the same level as man. You see, certain people, and this is how certain man got this thing fucked up as well. Certain man will think that they're on the same level as other man just because. Fam, a man is not on the same level as me unless he's a hard grinder, unless he's a man that's willing to make sacrifice, that's making sacrifice and that. If a man's just coasting through life, just live it every day as it comes, pays his bills and just buys a little Gucci on the side and drives a nice car, fam, we're not on the same level, fam. Our minds are not calibrated the same, fam. You're just living every day as it comes. I don't think like that, blood. A man that is successful, man that can drive Ferraris or own Ferraris and that, man that are serious business owners and that making guap and that, they ain't gonna want to be around no one that ain't got the same mindset as them at least. No one is looking around at this blood clot dog, but yeah, man, that's it for today, man. Yeah, a lot of people, if you don't study, if you don't work hard, you don't study hard and that, you're going to be working for peanuts, or you're going to go down the illegal route. And you don't want to be doing none of those, innit? Yeah, so the only way to avoid having to work for peanuts and go down the illegal route is to work hard, study hard, make sacrifice. That's it. Work hard, so study hard, get a good job, be ambitious enough. So study hard, be ambitious enough to find a good job that's paying some money, work all the hours underneath the sun, yeah, for as long as possible. Yeah, let's not be crazy now, innit? When I say all the hours underneath the sun, I mean, you know what I'm saying, innit? You don't just do a 40-hour week, innit? You aim to work minimum 60, 70 hours a week, yeah, and do that for a prolonged period of time. Save your money and invest your money. Don't do all of those first steps. Get a good education, have enough ambition to find a good high-paying job, work all the hours underneath the sun, and then spunk the money. No. Make working those long hours and that worth it, blood. When I was at that Holborn job, the infamous Holborn job, when I was working all those hours underneath the sun, blood, I saved that money and I was able to buy a property, blood. I'm not just going to save that money and then go and spend it. That ain't even saving it, fam. That's just holding on to it for a certain amount of time. So, yeah, man. And then, obviously, once you saved your money, invest it in the right places and that, whether it's a business or properties and that. Again, more delayed gratification and that. When the money's coming in from the business or the investment, don't spend it. My properties are giving me 1,200 each. That's 2,400 per month. I'm not spending the money. I've got 2 accounts. Both of my, well, I've got 3 accounts. My personal account, then each property has an account assigned to it. So the flat around the corner is whatever, I ain't gonna say the road, yeah. All the bills and that is linked to that one account, and that's what I've nicknamed the account. Like on Santander, you can change your account from like a everyday current account to one particular address. I don't know, 5 Smith Street or something. Yeah? So I've got one account that says 5 Smith Street, and then one account that says 60 Argyle Street or whatever, innit? All the money comes out of those accounts, and everything's linked to that one address and that. I've just got money sitting in there. One's got about 3,200, one's got about 3,400 or 3,600, just sitting there. I'm not spending the money. Certain man, when they got an extra £500 coming in, all right, can get a new car now. Nah, fam. Nah, blood, you don't want to be doing that, blood. Save your ass clout money. This is the problem as well. Certain people, they might live in London, yeah? So certain people live in London right now. And you know what the London house prices are like. Minimum 500, really and truly. Maybe more. There's certain people live in a council house, and they could have, they're entitled to right to buy it after a certain period of time. Obviously, they would have to put down a fat deposit and be earning a certain amount. And they look at their finances and how much deposit they got, and they're like, boy, even if I had the deposit, I can't afford the mortgage, so I'm not earning enough. So what they will do is they won't try to find a way to earn more money and start saving more so that they can put down a bigger deposit and obviously have more earnings and that. They'll just say to themselves, you know what, it's out of my range, forget it. So I'll just live the life I want, buy up all the cars I want, lease all the cars I want, finance all the cars I want, wear up all this stupid clothes and that, Balmain, Balenciaga, Gucci and that, and go on all these dumb holidays and that. Blood, you're better off, yeah, still trying to find a way to buy this property and that, even if it seems out of your range. You don't know what scheme might come up in the government and that. But by not doing that and then saying to yourself, you know what, let me just spend this money on these clothes and these cars and that, blood, you're making, you're going to put yourself where it's almost impossible. You have to think of it like this, yeah? Life is like a race. Imagine, yeah, you're going to go and enter a race with Olympic sprinters or professional sprinters and that. By you spending that extra £500 a month on this car lease, or paying back this credit card every single month, blood, you're adding weight to yourself. Imagine, you want to put yourself in the best possible position to save money. By you adding up and taking on extra debts and that, blood, you're adding weight to yourself. So that's like going into a race, but then you're adding a 20-kilo bag to yourself. You're going to make your job more difficult, blood. Cars and credit cards and kids, blood, these are all going to slow you down. So you need to delay. Well, you shouldn't even really have no credit cards and that. It's just solely doing it to build up credit, not because you ain't got enough money in the bank balance. But the cars thing, you need to wait. And kids, you need to delay that and wait as long as possible. You don't want to be having your first shoot at fucking 40 years old. But if that's what the situation you're in, there is what it is, innit? But at the same time, you don't want to be having a ute at 20 years old as a man. Fuck that, man. Nah, blood. I'd love to know where my life would be if I had 2 youths at the age of 20 and they would be 10 years old right now. I never understand that. Like, I'll meet man and gal and they're like 30 years old, so they're my age, or they're 28 and they're like, yeah, I've got a 10-year-old. What? What? Blood, at the age of 30, your youth should be 1. Not at the age of 30, your youth should not be 10 years old, fam. Fuck that, blood. Obviously, you don't want to be too old than that, but you don't want to be too young, fam. You don't want to be too young, man. But that's it, man. Damn dogs getting on my ass, Clark nerds. I feel like calling the pet detectives. Stay wise, done, though.